Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Voice of Boxing podcast in association with Loungers TV, the streaming platform you want to be on. And you want to be on this because the guests are coming thick and fast. We've got a fantastic lineup for 2025. We're getting all sorts in, fighters, trainers, managers, young prospects. We have one today. He's really good. 8-0, Ben Fail, a twin, of course, brother Carl too. Both of you making waves in the Super Welterweight division and in Britain. It's great to have you with us. Thanks for coming in.
No problem.
Ben, what is the plan? I guess you're undefeated. You are. You had a good amateur background. What's the way you're going to go about 2025 and make some more noise?
2025 is big fights, the biggest fights, the best fights, the most entertaining fights. That's all I want this year is to start pushing on in my career, get some opportunities, some titles, and just see where this year takes us.
Yeah, because you're going to have it with them, aren't you? I mean, you've obviously stirred a few pots already, and you love that, don't you? You want to make an impression on this business.
Yeah, you have to, don't you? Otherwise, your closed mouths don't get fed. So when you're in boxing, you have to stir some pots. You have to do a bit of pushing and pulling. But look, at the end of the day, we're here to fight, and I'm here to win titles. That's what boxing about. So I do. This year is the year for titles, bringing titles back to Peacock's gym. So that's my main focus this year.
Good young fighter and a real character too. Let's take you back. Ben, of course, is a twin. Ben and Carl, the double trouble, I guess. We've had plenty of twins along the way. I remember Jamie and Gavin McDonald were good. Obviously, Pat and Luke McCormack at the moment as well.
Yep.
Tell me about life growing up as a twin. Best mates, or did you fight as kids?
I think all kids fight, don't they? So when we was young, because I'm one brother of six of us, but obviously in my house was me, Carl, and my younger brother. We're the boxers in the
three
family.
Young ones.
Yeah, the three youngest.
The babies.
Yeah, because we got the beatings growing up, so I think it was the only thing we knew. But we was the boxers growing up, and yeah, all kids fight. But as we grew up, we just got closer and closer, and we've always had the same friends. We do the same things together. Same as my younger brother as well. He was a very good amateur as well, but he ended up packing it in about 19. So
it's difficult, isn't it?
It is.
So all the talented ones, they don't necessarily become professionals.
No.
They can just maybe just not lose the love of it.
Yeah, because he was very talented. In the amateurs between me, Carl, and Aaron, we won every national title or every tournament you could win in the amateurs. Between three of us. So Carl was obviously 2-time ABA champion, Three Nations champion, GB champion, then went on to win 2 silver medals at the Europeans. Yeah. My little brother Aaron, he was obviously a few years younger, but he won the novice ABAs, won the Haringey, and then I come through winning the CYP national titles. I got to the ABA finals. I won the Haringey championships as it turned to a B-class tournament that year. So that was all in the space of 4 years out of Farcon Boxing Club, John Daly. So the way he pushed us and the way we trained, the proof was in the pudding.
What age were you when you first put the gloves on, and why?
So me and Carl walked into the boxing gym at 10 years old. So growing up for us, there was a lot of fighting. There was a lot of my old man. He was a hard man. He there was no wussing around, or it was like if we started crying, it was like, I'll give you something to cry for if you carry on, and things like that.
Real discipline,
real just a tough man. So we grew up like that, and I think it come out in our personalities as growing up, and we didn't take nothing off anyone, and he didn't want us causing trouble outside the ring. So what happened was I had a few fights. Carl was having a few fights, and he said, I'm not having this. Go down to the boxing gym to give us a bit of discipline. But we tried a few other sports before that, and then as soon as we stepped into the boxing gym, it was like we knew there was nothing else for us. We were straight in the ring sparring. We was smiling. We was laughing. We was having a good time, and I think we just never looked back. There was never anything other option for us since that first day walking into Farcon Boxing Club.
What were the other sports? Kickboxing, football?
So we tried rugby. Carl always says a funny one. We tried rugby, and it never made sense to him because he says, you tackle someone, you get hurt. You get tackled, you get hurt. So there was no like winning. So that's probably why he was such a good amateur, because he found a way to hurt people and not get hurt. But yeah, we tried football. We lost every game. We lost every game. We was terrible. The only game we lost all the games but one. It was against the parents. So we was terrible at football, and the rugby didn't make sense. And then yeah, we went into boxing. It was just like it was meant to be.
I love the honesty. Absolutely fantastic. You grew up in Northampton, yeah? That's your sort of neck of the woods. Yeah,
that's what we call home. But we was born in London. So I was born in Ruislip, Hillingdon Hospital right next to it, and then we moved to Newcastle when we was 3.
Did you?
Yeah. So we moved to Newcastle. My dad wanted us to get us out of London because, like I said, I've got a few brothers and sisters, and I think life was a little bit different for them. It was harder, and so he's seen that, and he said, "Cool, I need to get these out of London." He took us out of London. We went to Newcastle. Was there till we was 8, and then I remember we moved from Newcastle because we went from rough to rough. You know, coming from London and moving to Newcastle. My dad was actually a Northern. He was from Middlesbrough. So he was a Northern anyway. And then we went from rough to rough. And then at 8, my dad's brother had a business in Northampton. He had an opportunity to come work in Northampton. So we packed our stuff. We moved to Northampton, and then we've been there ever since.
Father I quite like from Northampton, who's done ever so well, Chantel Cameron, a brilliant young woman and a great talent, and she's been fantastic, and of course part of Frank Warren's stable.
Yeah. So we grew up with Chantel. She was in our gym for a little bit, but we've always known about her. In my opinion, she is definitely top 2 in the best female fighters. It's her and Katie Taylor, but having won, I would like to see that rematch as well. I think we need to see that rematch.
We'd all love to see the trilogy. I was with Katie the other day. She's really open to it. Of course, there's Amanda Serrano. There's other fights, but I know Chantel, beat Katie, was the first person to beat her, and then, of course, didn't really perform as well in Dublin. I was there at the rematch, but we've got to have that again.
We have to. I think we have to, especially for Katie's legacy and the way Chantel beat her the first one. You know, obviously Katie come back and done her thing in the second, but with the headbutt, and there was a few other things in the fight. The ref was a bit letting her hold, and there was loads of little things in the fight. But yeah, I think we definitely need to see that rematch. Inspiration
to you, Chantel?
100%. Obviously, growing up, you always look at the successful ones from your area. She was one of them on GB team. She was doing great things, talks of Olympics and whatnot. So growing up, you had her. And obviously Carl followed to do the same shortly after.
And you were in the gym, so you weren't getting into trouble on the streets. That was the key from your dad, the message that boxing's good for you.
Yep, that was it. Because boxing brings discipline, it brings resilience, it brings, you know what I mean? You're in the gym training instead of messing around, and it makes you realise like you can't beat everyone, and sometimes it's good to take a beating. So yeah, for us it was just about being in the gym more than in the streets. You know, we were in my family, me, Carl, and my younger brother Aaron, were the first ones not to get in trouble with the law and anything like that. So for us, I'd definitely say he saved our lives.
I was about to say, what would have happened without boxing?
I don't know. You never know, do you? It's all good saying I would have been this, could have done that, but I don't know what I would have done without boxing. I really don't.
It's part of you. It's part of your brother, your twins. So you say that you grew closer together as the years sort of went by. What's it like, I guess, when one's doing really well, one's not quite so happy with things, or there's a little bit of turmoil? I mean, do you just support each other?
Yeah, that's it. We just support each other. So one success, you got to think. So if I'm doing something great, he's there with me. It's not like I'm leaving him behind, and vice versa. When he's doing something great, I'm right there with him. So we just boost each other up all the time. There's no like leaving each other behind or jealousy, or we have such a good relationship. And yeah, I'm very, very blessed, I feel, to have a twin.
And did you fight a lot when you were younger, obviously in the gym, sparring together? I mean, that's brothers, right? I mean, it's fascinating, talking to Vitaly and Vladimir, and the mum never wanted them to fight and all that. It's hard, yeah?
Yeah, it is hard, yeah. But we did spar as kids. at like 14, 15, we stopped sparring because that's when I started to get both of us started getting our strength and our power. So it got to the point it was like there's hundreds of people in the UK to spar and punch. I didn't want to punch my brother no more. He didn't want to punch me. So we said no more sparring. Obviously, we got to that level at 15, 16 where it was like we started knocking people out and winning titles, and it was like we don't want to do that to each other.
Yeah, Jake and Logan Paul. I mean, do we really want to see that happen? Do they want to see it happen?
Well, are we talking about boxing? Or are we
do you know what I mean?
YouTube?
Exactly. You know, it's Misfits. It's YouTube. It's anything goes now, right?
It is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, look, them two are probably some of the best brothers in business wise ever. They know how to sell themselves. They know how to sell a fight. Yeah, I don't pay too much attention. I can't lie to you, to the YouTube. I only know them two because of their names. I don't watch any of the fights.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because talent-wise, and you guys have worked so hard, the fighters to come through, and then they sort of spring or have sprung into the sport. But as you're right, incredibly clever business.
It is. That's all it is at the end of the day. It's not because of their fighting, or even as we see Jake is putting the work in the last few years. You've got to take your hat off.
Yeah, both of them have worked hard.
Yeah, they have worked hard. And I say Jake because obviously he's working hard in the boxing gym more than I think Logan's more in the other side of the world, the wrestling and all that. So you have to take your hat off in that. But yeah, it makes you think sometimes. I've done my whole childhood getting punched in the head when I should have just acted a fool in front of a camera.
Yeah, but you've got where you have, and you boys went through the amateurs.
Yep.
You say there's no jealousy. It's big support. It's big sort of camaraderie. But when he gets the call to go to Team GB and start sort of winning maybe the major tournaments, what's the feeling for you? Is it just you're happy for him, or does it drive you on more? Did it?
I was when he won that first ABAs, I half dropped a tear. I was over the moon for him. I couldn't have been happier. Yeah, it's just for me him. There's not 1 ounce of jealousy because the only person I want in this world to do better than me, if there was one person that I wanted to win a world title or to do any better than me, would be him. So I can't feel any jealousy or any hate because I want him to do that. I want all the success, but if anyone's to get more, I want it to be him. So that's my life and that's how I feel.
Is it harder fighting or harder watching him fight?
Watching him fight, without a doubt. Watching him because it's out of my control. You know, it's definitely, I'd have 10 fights in one night rather than watch him fight. Yeah.
It's very emotional, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. It's hard. Obviously, I had my younger brother who fought as well, so I've done it 3 times. You know what I mean? Watching him, watching Carl. It is hard, but like, I've watched him fight the best in the world, so I know what he can do. I watched him against the Olympic silver medalist Kazakhstan. I've watched him beat 5 top 10 ranked amateur world fighters in a week. So I mean, so I know what he's capable of. So it's the element of just like I want to make sure he does what I know he can do.
He's not here today. He's obviously very welcome, and I'm sure that it's odd for you not being next to him.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
but he's just had some time out, hasn't he? And he's just coming back now.
He's had some time away, and he has a few things going on today. That's why he couldn't make it. He'd have loved to have been here.
But we'll get him in.
Yeah, we'll definitely get him in. Yeah, I'll come back as well. But yeah, he had a few things to do today. He was gutted he couldn't come.
Fantastic to have you here. So let's talk about your career, amateur-wise. 60, 70 fights.
Somewhere between 80 to 100.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I had about 80 to 100.
It's a real solid pedigree.
Yeah. And it got to the point where obviously I'd been amateur from 10, had my first amateur fight at 11.
It's so young.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So we was fighting every week or every other week. We was getting 2-day call-ups and we was going travel all around the country, me and Carl being 2 of us. So we went to a fight once, the kid come in 3 kilos heavier, so I put some pennies in my pocket, stood on the scales, I was like, I'll fight him. There was loads of that. So we was just here, there and everywhere. But when we got to 16, we both got to the national CYP finals. That was our first national final. After that, the fight slowed down a bit. It got to like, okay, no, these guys don't want to fight you anymore. These guys don't want to fight you either. Then the year after, Carl won the ABAs. I got to the semi-finals, losing to Haris Akbar, obviously another Olympian. Well, I probably will be an Olympian. He's on the GB team. And then after that ABA, it's become even harder. It become like, okay, Ben, you can only fight in championships now. and the year after that I got seeded. So I had one fight on the first round of the championships, and then I got seeded to the quarters, semis and finals. So it come to the point then every year then I was only fighting for the last three fights of the championships. Yep. So it become like, I probably would have, if I could have got more fights and people was up for fighting, I probably would have had over 100. But it just got to the point where Carl was on GB. He was a bit more blessed. He is having all the international fights. He's fighting the world-ranked fighters. For me, where...
Looks after better. That's sort of... It's difficult, isn't it? Team GB have got such an amazing setup.
Yeah. So it's just the opportunities they bring.
Yeah.
He had a lot more opportunities because he got that. So I got the call up for the GBs. I went to the trials. I ended up cutting it short 2 days in. I had a little thing that happened with one of the coaches. I said, this ain't for me. I packed my bags and went on the second day, and never went back up there. The year after I got to the ABA finals, they called me up again. I didn't even go. I sat down with Carl. I said, Carl, I can't. The thing is with the GB setup is you have to be a bit of a yes man, and you have to, and
I can sense this in you.
Yeah, with the experience I had down there, and I still went down. I went down there training with Carl. Sometimes I'd just go to his camps. They'd let me train, and like one time they had a camp in Wales, and I just drove to Wales, and I said, Carl, I'm coming. Like, so there was a lot of. I still managed to grab a lot of experience from GB and the England team, but it weren't for me. It weren't for me. And it's not for everyone. It doesn't have to be for everyone.
What's the difference in your characters?
Me and Carl. I think me and Carl were the same but different. Everyone will tell you it's hard to split us in character wise, but we're like yin and yang. We bounce off each other, and everything I need in me, he has, and vice versa. So that's why we work so well. And we honestly do spend every single day together.
Who's a better fighter?
That's the most asked question we ever get, and you'll never get an answer. You'll never get an answer out of me or Carl. We're both I think he's better than me. He thinks I'm better than him, and that's just, you'll never get an answer.
You're living the dream, aren't you? The two of you, side by side. He's gone through his injuries and he's coming back. Yep. So it's really exciting times, obviously, in the boxing world. As an unbeaten pro, are you happy with the development so far? 8 fights and really now in a position where you're going to move towards titles.
Yeah. Frank's done a great job with me and Carl. I think he's given us all the opportunities we wanted. Martin Bowers being our manager, again, unbelievable manager.
Real experience there, Frank Warren, Martin Bowers.
Yeah,
they know boxing inside and out.
Yeah, two of the best in the business, in my opinion. For me and Carl now, like you said, we've had a good couple of years of building, had a good few fights, had a good few lot, especially I come back. So on my debut was actually with under Sky Sports on the McKenna and who was he fighting? Who was the guy that just boxed Azam Azim a couple of fights ago?
Ahara Davis.
Yeah, so it was on the McKenna and Ahara Davis undercard. So I boxed at Sky Sports.
Yeah.
That was my debut. And I broke my hand against Robbie Chapman. A good fight.
Yes, good fight.
I had a good 6 rounds with him, but I broke my hand in the
left hand.
Left hand. So I broke it in the end of the 3rd round. So I had to do the last 3 with more or less one hand. I'm talking, I threw it, but I was in unbelievable pain. And then,
does the adrenaline just keep you going?
It didn't. Everyone says that, and it just didn't. I was in unbelievable real pain. I've never felt before in a boxing ring. And I managed.
It just went. Did he feel it go?
I chased him with a jab, and I threw like a body shot. But
your backhand.
Backhand, and it caught him clean on his elbow. And as soon as it landed, my whole left side froze up, and I dropped in pain. But I styled it off, the bell went. And then I managed to pull through the last 3 rounds. But after that, I thought it would heal. I've never had a serious hand injury like that. So I gave it a year because I didn't want to get an operation. I gave it a year. I said I'd done everything. Physios. I'd done thousands and physios.
Everything that was asked of you.
Everything. And I got to the point where I seen 2 specialists and they told me to retire. They said this will never heal. It will never get better. So then after the second guy told me that, I was destroyed. My whole life sort of fell to bits. I couldn't believe it. I thought, I've done all this, and mine and Carl's dream, and it's just gone after a debut. So then I ended up just destroying myself, drinking, weren't even partying, just drinking, and then Carl pulled me back around a bit, went to a few of his sparers, and then actually went down to Tony Sims's gym, and Conor Ben gave me a hand specialist. down Manchester. So I went down there, went and seen him, and he was like, "Yeah, we can fix that." And I was like, "What?"
Really?
He was like, "We can fix that, no problem." Yeah.
When you've been told twice that.
Yeah, to retire, and I was like, "Perfect, let's get it done." Like, and then I left. I called him. I said, "If there's anything," because he told me there was a 4-month waiting list. I said, "If there's anything you can do for me, give me an ASAP." He called me back 10 minutes later. He said, "Come in next week." I said, "Perfect." Then ever since then, it was rebuilding and coming back, and it's been brand new ever since.
Really? That good?
That good, yeah.
Not felt anything in it?
After that, I come back, I had 5 fights, 5 knockouts.
Yeah, the knockout streak.
Yeah, streak. And then obviously my last couple have been great learning fights that I needed before title fights.
And the hand absolutely fine now?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem.
You hit it with the same power, everything?
Yep. If anything, is stronger.
I mean, that's just mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah.
That you can get that news, and obviously how difficult, deflating. You're focused on this since you were a kid, and suddenly it's all gone, and you're out there, and you just can't. It must have been horrendous.
It was horrible, but like I said, with Carl, with my family, good team around me, they pulled me back in, and I pushed on, and I'm here now.
Because full-time pro, right?
Yeah, full-time. I was full-time training since I was 19.
Yeah.
Great sponsors. I'm from a town, Northampton. We have great backing there,
which is really useful.
It's
People
massive.
don't understand, do they?
No.
How hard this business is.
A few kids, like the amateurs, obviously we have a few amateurs looking up to me and Carl from our hometown. They talk to me about pro. I say, because a lot of them, it's money now. They see Mayweather, they see and I'm like, if you want to make money, go work a job. Don't turn pro, because only 1% of professionals will leave retired and not having to work again. So I said, if you're thinking about, you don't get into boxing if you're thinking about money, because it's very hard to make money in boxing, especially the first like 10, 15 fights. You might get the one odd, but by the time most pros, as you probably know, retire, they've done probably just a minimum wage their whole life. So, but I'm here now. And
was there a backup plan when you got that? When the hand was broken, did you think?
No, they weren't.
You didn't know what to do. You were lost.
Yeah, I was resilient. I didn't. Even when I got told to retire, my head went a bit, but I knew I was gonna fight again. I never 100% believed that they could tell me, you can never box again. I was gonna do it with one arm. I said to Carl, I'll see what I can do with one arm. I won't use this one. I said, let me see what I can do with the one arm, because I was never just gonna call it a day. I wasn't gonna give up. That weren't something that was gonna happen. For me, it was just, obviously, being told to retire, really, I always knew that I was never going to hit my full potential.
Unbelievable dedication. It's a great story, and it is resilience, isn't it? Coming back from something like that, news like that, and an injury, it makes you so much better as a person. Yeah,
I think so. It's built me to who I am today, for sure.
Now it's a bright future. I mean, Frank Warren believes in you. That's great, because Frank is absolutely flying at the moment. Queensbury Box Nation, the move to the zone.
He's the man in a minute, isn't he?
I mean, everything he touches turns into gold. Him and George, it's unbelievable. But of course, you've got the relationship now with Eddie and Ben. There is the whole sort of umbrella underneath Turki Al-Sheikh and what he's done for boxing, spinning the whole sport around, and the landscape has changed for you fighters. It must be fabulous.
It is, yeah, because it's just more opportunity, ain't it? So with them working together now, it brings a lot more opportunity. There's so many more fights to be made, easier to make them. It's mad, because who would have thought this would have happened? So you just can't predict the future, and who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, and how long it will last. But at the moment, while it's good,
enjoy it.
We've got huge fights ahead, sort of all through 2025. And you're in a really exciting division as well. Tall for the weight, obviously. Got plenty of skills. What do you think that others don't have in that super welterweight mix?
In what sense?
What have you got that's special that you think that other fighters don't have, they don't possess?
I think cream always rises to the top. I think we've got the experience. I think me and Carl, we've been there and done it. We've pushed ourselves from a young age. And I think a lot of them ain't got the heart that I've got. I think, like, we'll see this year with the fights that we have. Well, there's some great domestic fights. There really is.
Which sort of names we're looking at?
There's loads. Whoever's got the title. So you got to look at the big names right now. Is you got the Gillian Lewis, who's fighting for the British and Commonwealth. Mm-hmm. So everything's up in the air at the minute. You got to remember with Sinead Boston just drawing with Fawaz.
Yep.
The English title's now tied up with them too, because they've got a rematch.
Yep.
the British and Commonwealth.
And it needs a rematch.
Yeah, it does need a rematch because he lost that fight.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely lost that fight. He got gifted a draw, in my opinion. But look,
let's just stop there because there's a little bit of beef here with you and Janae, which is always good for boxing. We love sort of spinning a pot. Tell us a little bit about that. Calling each other out, and then a little bit of happening at York Hall, Bethnal Green, I remember.
Yeah, so this was last year in May. I was there. I was obviously fighting that night. I got a first round knockout. He's turned up. Just before this, I've called him out on Twitter. A humble call out, in my opinion, saying two good prospects. And then he, being a cheeky kid he is, come back, giving it all talk. But didn't think nothing of it, and he come down obviously to the fight. I think he was on TalkSport that night or something, and I actually walked over there to we crossed paths, and I put my hand out to shake his hand, and he half looked at it, and then he shook it, and I said, "What was that about?" And he went, "Don't quote me word for word now because it was a little while ago," and he went, I said to him, "It's a business. I'm building fights, whatever. I'm calling. I want to fight. I want to fight big names. He's a big name. Look." As much as he's a donut, he's a big name in the
well, he's getting the Matchroom, isn't he? The Gloss.
Yeah, he's
good fighter.
Prospect of the year,
yep.
And so I want good fights, and he was just one of them I called out, and he took it personal, and he come down to the show. Tried to, I don't know what he was trying to do, but come up to me and Carl, and calling us all pussies, and he'll slap me and then started putting his hands on me. So yeah, he got dealt with how he got dealt with. Everyone's seen on the it obviously blew up all over social media. But yeah, with boxing, actions speak louder than words, and I wanted that fight. It never happened, and now with Fowers, it's just exposed him a little bit. Everyone's messaging me after the fight. You knock him out, you'll smash him, and I know I would. This is why. I think everyone thought I was crazy when I was calling him out, and now this has happened. Everyone's sort of agreeing with me. You probably would knock him out. I know I would knock him out. I've been saying I'd knock him out, but people will jump on the hype, and I think that's what everyone is with him. He's a bit of a hype job, and Fowers is a good fighter, experienced fighter, 36 years old, come and done what he had to do. It was a good fight. I'm not knocking him, and I'm not saying, look. In boxing, everyone can lose and everyone can draw, lose, whatever. Draw's a loss, but he's too cocky and he's too arrogant, in my opinion. And that was a humbling. I think that was life humbling him Saturday night.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens next. But really good fighters in this mix, and good fighters need other good fighters, and you need those storylines, don't you? The hooks, and now people want to see that fight.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, but I think people just want to see him get beat up. He's a donut. He is a real donut, and he talks way too much. He should be a bit more humble, and I think this will humble him a bit.
So, what's next for you this year?
For me, is just we have March the 8th down at Wolverhampton on a BCB promotion, Box Nation. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to that. Nice 6 round to keep me busy start of the year. And then I've been told a title fight in May. Because
after the break, you needed to keep busy, momentum. You had those knockouts, and a busy or a dangerous sort of fighter, and you keep going is a happy one. Is someone who's content, because you're rolling with it.
That's it. You have to, because we put the work in the gym all year round. I don't have time off. Peacock's Martin don't let us have time off with sparring all year round. So for me, it's important to stay busy. Obviously, boxing in November. I wanted to get out early this year. Mm-hmm. Frank's got me a title fight, fingers crossed, in May, I've been promised. So a warm-up fight in March, and then a title fight in May is the plan.
Do you love the big shows? Do you love being under the lights?
I love boxing. I love fighting.
Doesn't matter where.
It doesn't matter where. I'm not going to tell you I need to be on. I'm not going to sit down and say I need to be on a headline show. I need this and that. I'm happy to fight. I don't. Some fighters, JD Boston, think they're better than the small hall shows. I think they're better than the other not massive headline shows, and you're not. These are the shows that build fighters. These journeymen, because he's always got a lot to say about they're fighting journeymen, but these journeymen, these road warriors, they build you in your early career, and they make you the fighter win titles and
dealing with the different styles. They've got bags of experience. They've travelled. Yeah. They know how to look after themselves.
So my last two, I've had 2 8-rounders and I've done the whole 8 rounds. And I've learnt more from them 2 fights than I did in the last 5 knockouts. And I was so lucky to get them 2 fights before I fight for a title because they've taught me more than I would ever think I know.
Big Ben fail, eh? What about the fail? I mean, is that, the surname, is that giving you hassle all the way through?
It has since kids. It's nothing we ain't used to. Yeah. I think it makes good headlines, doesn't it?
It does make good headlines.
Fail by name, not by nature.
Absolutely. And the twins, and Frank Warren loves a story. He loves good fighters and he loves a story.
Yep.
And that's what you guys are.
Yeah.
You must be loving it under him. With what's going on. You must be thinking you're with the man and you can make this happen. This is
a dream for us because especially growing up, you never know where you're going to go. But I think being under Frank Warren, who we watched since kids, always been a massive promoter. When we signed a contract with him, me and Carl looked at each other and was like, yeah, we're going to do it. Like, we're going to do it. So for us, it was a massive, massive achievement. Because we didn't come from much as kids. Growing up, we come from 2 parents who was on benefits. We didn't have no money. We had nothing growing up. I say we had nothing, but we had everything because unlike other people, we didn't have no money and we was on benefits and we couldn't really get by how you should, but we had love in our house and we never knew we was poor or we didn't have money. For us, it was like everyone was happy. My dad was happy, mum was happy, we was happy because there was loads of love and there was loads of care. So we always had food on the table and we always had clothes on our back. We went to school and everyone was happy. But for us now is like, okay, we want to change our life. We want to show my little cousins and my little nephews that like you can work hard and you can achieve something.
Terrific words, great to hear, and that foundation you had as kids and the bond is so important.
It is, yeah, definitely, because especially for us, we lost my dad at 15 from drinking, from alcohol. There was my parents were alcoholics growing up as well, so at 15 it just got the better of him. His liver gave up and he fell into a coma. So the hospital actually told us that he was coming out after being in there for 2 weeks. So he was coming out the next day and that night he fell into a coma and a few days later he died. So it was a massive, massive shock to us at being 15. We didn't, like I said, we had loads of love. We didn't even understand about alcohol or alcoholics. It never registered in our brain. So when that happened, it was a massive shock to us. And it was like, whoa, like what do we do now? Like, it's just mum, we have no money, we don't have anything. And then my cousin Tim, who my dad also was there for, is my dad's sister's son. He stepped forward and he was only in his early 30s himself. I don't know if you ever see, we wear the autism on our shorts.
Yeah.
His son has autism, so we spread awareness for that. It's a massive part of our life.
Fantastic, like Callum Smith does all the time on his shorts, the Smith brothers with their sister. When
my dad died, I remember sitting on the sofa. I was only 16. I think I got kicked out of college, and my mum sat there and she looked at me and said, "I think I'm going to lose the house." She said, we don't, because I think I was maybe getting some money from the college or whatever. And when I got kicked out, I was like, and then 10 minutes later, I had my cousin on the phone. He said, "Don't worry, you will never lose your house. I'll always be there." And from that day, he was like, he's been a saviour to us. He's kept to that love of family in our life, and his 2 little girls, and Sean is like little sisters and brothers to me. He actually took me in after I got kicked out of college. I actually moved to his house in North London, and he has a plastering business, and he took me in and he paid me to work with him, and I was a labourer for him for 2 years till I was 19 and started training full time. So for him to, and he was a great role model as well, being a successful businessman himself, and being brought up by my dad. He had the same like roles and like the same what am I looking for?
He looked after you.
Yeah,
so the same care and the kindness.
Yeah, kindness and toughness. He had the same toughness on us. He didn't let us. Especially when we told him we wanted to be boxers, he was like, "Cool, like if you want to be boxers." He was the one that took me down to Peacocks, so he was the one that introduced me to Martin and took me round. So for that that really, I want to say, saved our life also, because after obviously my dad dying, he was our biggest fan in boxing. He used to, I remember we'd fight would have an amateur fight, and I'd go to sleep on the Saturday night. I'd wake up Sunday morning, and he hasn't slept. He'd have watched the fight over and over, and he'd pause it. He'd go, "Look at this, son. Look at this," and he'd make me watch the fight of him. And yeah, so he was like our biggest fan. So for my cousin to come in after that and implement the same feeling was massive for us.
Incredible stories on the Voice of Boxing, Ben. That's just really honest of you, and it must have been a really hard situation, but you've got through it, you and your brother, and you're in a position now where you're ready to strike, and the future's so bright for you. What do you think you can achieve in boxing?
I don't like to put a cap on it, because you just, as soon as, if I say British, world, whatever, then I'd just like to see what I can do as a professional. I want to see what titles I can win. I'd like to go all the way. But at the end of the day, me and Carl, biggest goal is we want to be known like the Smiths, like the Gavin and his brother. We want to be known as two of the best brother boxers out of England. That's one of our biggest goals.
Well, you already are as amateurs. Now it's just proving it as pros, undefeated, guided well. Now it's down to you guys.
It's all down to us. It's in our hands now to perform and do what we're supposed to do.
Winning titles and hopefully making money and getting your future secure after what has been a rough start, I guess, to your life. But in many ways, the love that you're talking about beats everything.
100%, yeah. That's what made us who we are today.
Did you have heroes, boxing heroes, growing up that you wanted to be like?
If I'm honest, the only hero in my life is my cousin Tim. He's the guy I look up to and ever want to be like. That's the guy I want to be like. He's
always ringside?
He's always there. He's always been there my whole life.
You and Carl going places? Is the dream maybe not to be a world title champion, but is the dream maybe to go to the States or get on a Saudi card, or the money? What is it? It's a bit of everything, or is it to prove to yourself that you are the fighter and the man that you believe? Because you seem so dedicated. I know you had that little time off when the hand went, but it seems to me you're utterly committed to this business.
Yeah, we are. We give 100% of our life to it. We have, like I said, we have the best sponsors and that behind us. I couldn't not be 100% into it with the backing I have, But for us, it's like we want to make sure we achieve to the best of our ability. So I don't want to look back in my career and say I could have done more. That's all it is for us. That's why when I say I don't want to put a cap on it, that's what it means to me. Is like I don't want to look back after 5 years I retire and say if I didn't do that, I could have been better. When for me, it's like let me see what the best Ben Fell and the best Carl Fell can really do.
I think that's a great way to end it. Finally, though, a message to your fans out there and to fans, I guess, that are going to grow with this story. What do you say to them? Is it a thanks? Is it a come join the ride? It's going to be an exciting one. You both are great to watch.
Yeah, it's keep supporting. Thank you for all the support that's got me here today. Yeah, we're in for a big journey. Me and Carl, big 2025, have some titles around our waist.
And you'll bring him next time, eh?
100%.
He'll be in the studio. We'll have Carl. We'll have the other one. We'll have the twin. We've heard from Ben today. What a fantastic episode. I hope you've enjoyed it on the Voice of Boxing podcast. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And thank you for being open and honest. It was really lovely to chat with you. Yeah. And I wish you well.
Thank you very much.
I'll give Frank a call afterwards and tell him.
Go on.
Fantastic. Voice of Boxing podcast in association with Loungers TV. That's Ben Fale, undefeated prospect. Carl Fale, his brother, undefeated prospect. Keep an eye on the Fale brothers. We'll be back with more very soon.